Omnes. Buongiorno, buonasera, good evening. So, today I wanted to show you some of the things that I picked out of the vegetable garden at my family's house. I've been staying at my parents' house, house sitting and taking care of their kitty cat. My kitties are here also with me, and they have a large vegetable garden, and since it is summer, things are growing, and I've been taking care of it while they are in Italy. So I was just going to show you some of the things I've harvested and tap on them, some of them have some nice sounds, and maybe suggest some Italian recipes that can be made with these. Okay. So, these are some of the tomatoes I picked. They are San Marzano. This one's good. They're good for making tomato sauce. Mostly that's the main use for San Marzano. But you can also cut them up and put them in a salad. Eat them fresh, however, So I picked 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And I'll probably be using them to make salads in the next day or two. You could also make a little tuna salad with onions and diced up tomatoes and tuna, olive oil, and some balsamic vinegar, salt and pepper, something like that. You can add other stuff too. Okay. So, this is a whole lot of green radicchio that I picked. So usually the radicchio you think of is red, but it does come in a variety of colors and different varieties. What I'm probably gonna do with this is cut it up and use it in a salad. They are quite bitter, next to something like just iceberg lettuce or regular lettuce, but it's good for you, and I like bitter flavors, and I'll mix it with some other ingredients that will, balance it. Very fresh, just picked it this morning. Actually, there was also a little bit of curly lettuce. That I picked, but most of it's already done. Okay. I picked 2 artichokes. My parents have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artichoke plants. And basically the artichoke is like the flower that comes up. They seemed ready. So I picked them. I think they're an Italian variety. Maybe Roman, but I'm not sure. When you get artichoke from the store, should check that they're still, kind of a plasticky, squeaky sound. That means that they're still fairly fresh. If they feel kind of slightly soft, or if they're not like really hard and kind of rubbery, and not rubbery, but if they don't have kind of a squeaky, plasticky feel when you squeeze them, and they don't make the sound, they're probably not fresh. If they're silent and kind of rubbery or soft, they're probably not going to be so great. So I'm probably going to make this, I think in the style is called alla romana, but it's made all over Italy. Basically, you clean these, cut off, pull back some of the leaves, cut this part, trim it, and you can put salt, pepper, some breading if you want, and either parsley. Parsley's used a lot, but I've also seen mint put into it, and some garlic, little bits of diced up garlic between the leaves. And then you saute them face down in a pan or a little pot, depending how many you're making. That will fill it up, like cover it. You saute it in a pot, head down, in some olive oil, and when they start to crackle, you add a little bit of water, and you cover them and let them cook for like 20 minutes at like medium-low. Just make sure it doesn't dry out. And that's it, and you just peel them off and eat them. You can also make them, another famous Roman style is carciofi alla Judea. Carciofi alla Judea. I've never made them before. I've had them. They're very tasty. It's a Roman Jewish dish. I'll say that in a second. Basically, they're like somehow flat. I don't know all the steps, but they're like flattened. They're clean trimmed and flattened, and then they're like deep fried. They're super tasty. Artichokes are a rather ancient vegetable. The Romans used them. It is something that's been used in the Italic Peninsula, in that general region, for a long time, which may indicate why it is such a major produce of Roman cuisine. Okay. So, here is a bunch of Swiss chard. Swiss chard. Let me put it down over here. Which are called pietole in Italian. Pietole. You hear that? Oh, that sounds kind of like plasticky and squeaky. That's because it's super fresh. I just picked it like a few hours ago. So, the way I like to make these usually is I will remove the leaves from the stalk. You can add the stalk in there too. I often do because I don't like it to waste anything. I dice them up and kind of saute them separately and add them afterwards, or do something else with them, because they do cook slower than the leaves. But you trim them, take the leaves, wash them, cut them up, and you can just directly saute them in olive oil with basically making like greens, but the Italian style is sauteing them in olive oil with a significant amount, depending on how much you have, an equitable amount of diced up garlic. I also like to add red pepper flakes to give it a little bit of spice, salt and pepper, and then just keep it on medium until it's kind of dried out. You don't want them to be soggy, and they're very good. You can also use basically that kind of sauteed greens as a filling for cascioni. Cascioni are a Romagnolan dish street food. It's like a piada, if you know what a piada is. It's a flatbread also from that region. But basically, instead of when you make it, you can fill it with stuff and close it. It's kind of like the piada equivalent of a calzone. But I don't really like calzone very much. But I do love cascioni. They're very tasty. I will always have pizza, but I love me a good cascione. You can have it just vegetarian, filled with grains, or you can have like another popular simple one is tomato sauce and mozzarella. Some have like cheese and mushrooms inside. Sauteed onions and vinegar with ground sausage is very good also. Okay, so the last thing I harvested this morning were some zucchini. So this is one of them. But zucchini really are basically squash. So this, when they're this in the sunset, well, I'll show you in a second. So this kind of zucchini, you can I would either slice them up and grill them on the barbecue or on cast iron grill, and you can or in the oven, just put a little bit of hot spicy olive oil on it, or just regular olive oil and some salt, and they're good to go. Or you can also saute them. Another style is to deep fry them quickly and then kind of let them macerate in white vinegar and sprigs of mint and garlic. I think that is a Roman recipe. Or you can, this is kind of like an old school recipe my grandmother used to make. It was kind of popular in the 80s, I think, where they would core this, take it all out and fill it with tortellini filling, kind of a mix of I think beef and pork, ground beef and ground pork, and salt and pepper and a little bit of grated Parmesan. You take this mix and you fill it, and then you either in a pan on the stove or in the oven, you cook it with some tomato sauce over it. I wasn't crazy about it as a kid, but my mother made them recently, and they're pretty good. My boyfriend really likes that. Okay, so what I was saying was that zucchini, it's really a squash, and if you don't pick them when they're that size, they just keep growing, and if you don't watch out, and this will happen. This thing, I don't know if you can tell, this thing is huge, it's as long as my forearm. It's freaking huge. So, it does change the flavor of them. I'm probably going to take this and make slices out of it and make kind of a zucchini parmigiana with it. I saw a great recipe from Max Mariola. He's a famous Italian chef. He was I think on a show on TV or something, but I know him from his YouTube channel. He's Roman. He's very fun and very soulful in the way that he describes his recipes, and all his recipes are on point. I have never had an issue with any of his recipes. And I think he does videos with English subtitles, so if you want to check him out, just look up Max Mariola, Maxmariola, Max Mariola. But he recently posted a video where he makes a summer parmigiana with zucchini, and it's layers of zucchini. I think he deep fries them first with mozzarella and grated Parmesan Parmesan, and he even puts in some cooked ham in between, and then you bake it. It looks delicious. I think I'm gonna make that the next few, like tomorrow or the day after with this. So that is all that I've picked today. As other things are ready to harvest, I might, come back and show you guys some more stuff. What else is there in the garden? There's some radishes, which I picked already like a while ago. By the way, radishes, you can use the greens if you wash them. You can use them and saute them too, just like beet greens. You can saute those, they're all good. Most plants you can use most of it. What else do they got out there? I can't remember. I guess zucchini. Obviously. I guess I picked most of the kinds of things they have. Also, different varieties of tomatoes, I guess, and they have parsley and a big rosemary bush and some different herbs, and but I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe it gave you some ideas for some healthy or vegetarian forward recipes to make with vegetables that are in season right now in at least the northern hemisphere. In some areas, definitely in America, and most of Western Europe or Southern Europe. So I hope this was relaxing, informative, and entertaining. I'll see you next time.